At 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night, Lena Carter made the kind of mistake that changes everything. One accidental fire emoji on her CEO's Instagram photo, a man she'd never spoken to, a billionaire known for ruthless precision, and her phone lit up with a message that made her blood run cold. Within 20 minutes, Dominic Varela was at her door. Not angry. Worse, intrigued. What happened next wasn't supposed to be possible. A finance assistant and the most powerful man in the city? But some accidents aren't mistakes. Some are fate dressed up as chaos. Stay with me until the end of this story. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this tale travels. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. The MetroCard reader beeped twice. Declined. Lena Carter stood at the turnstile, heat crawling up her neck as the line behind her grew. She dug through her purse, phone wedged between her shoulder and ear, while her best friend Maya rambled about some dating app disaster. "Just swipe it again," the guy behind her muttered. "I'm trying," Lena said, not to him, to the universe in general. The card finally went through on the fourth attempt. She pushed past the turnstile, Maya still talking in her ear. And then he said he's emotionally unavailable but down to hang. Like, what does that even mean? "It means he wants to waste your time," Lena said, descending the subway stairs. The platform smelled like old coffee and something she didn't want to identify. "Why do you even bother?" says the woman who hasn't been on a date in 8 months. 11. Jesus, Lena. I've been busy. She had been. Varela Capital didn't run itself, and while Lena was technically just a finance assistant, glorified spreadsheet wrangler, really, the actual finance team treated her like an extension of their collective brain. Need last quarter's acquisition data cross-referenced with market projections? Ask Lena. Can't figure out why the numbers don't match the audit report. Lena will find it. She was good at being invisible and indispensable at the same time. "You're 28, Maya said, not 80. Live a little." The train pulled in, brakes screeching. Lena wedged herself into a corner seat, phone still pressed to her ear. "I'll live when I'm not drowning in work." "That's what you said last month." "Last month was different." "How?" "I don't know. It just was." Lena leaned her head against the window, watching the tunnel lights blur past. Her reflection stared back. Brown hair pulled into a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes that concealer couldn't quite hide, lips pressed into a thin line. She looked tired. She was tired. Maya sighed. "Fine, but I'm not giving up on you. One of these days I'm dragging you out whether you like it or not." "Looking forward to it," Lena lied. By the time she got home, it was past 11. Her apartment was small, studio in a building that had seen better decades. But it was hers. She dropped her bag by the door, kicked off her shoes, and fell onto the couch without turning on the lights. The city glow through the window was enough. Her phone buzzed. Work email. She ignored it. Another buzz. Instagram notification. She almost ignored that too, but her thumb was already moving, muscle memory from too many mindless scrolling sessions. It was a suggested post. Dominic Varela at some charity gala. Black tux, sharp jaw, eyes that looked through the camera rather than at it. The caption was something about philanthropic contributions to inner-city education programs. Lena didn't read it. She'd seen her boss exactly 3 times in person, twice in passing, once during a company-wide meeting where he'd stood at the front of the room like a statue carved from ambition and cold confidence. He didn't look real in person. Too controlled. Too precise. Like someone had designed him in a lab to intimidate people. In the photo, he looked the same, hand in his pocket, half smile that didn't reach his eyes, surrounded by people who probably thought proximity to power made them powerful too. Lena scrolled past. Then her phone slipped. She caught it, but not before her thumb hit the screen. The heart icon flashed red, then switched to a fire emoji, her default reaction setting from some trend Maya had convinced her to try months ago. "No, no, no, no!" She stared at the screen. The fire emoji sat there, mocking her, posted 37 seconds ago. She could undo it. She should undo it. Her finger hovered over the screen. What were the chances he'd even see it? The man probably had 100,000 followers, notifications turned off, someone else managing his account. He'd never know. It didn't matter. She unreacted, tossed her phone onto the couch, and went to brush her teeth. By the time she came back, her phone was lit up like a Christmas tree. 3 missed calls. Unknown number. 2 texts from the same number. Unknown. Interesting choice of emoji. Unknown. We should talk. Lena's stomach dropped. She sat down slowly, phone in her hand, reading the messages again. Then again. No. No way. She opened Instagram, went to Dominic Varela's profile, checked the photo. No reaction. She'd removed it. There was no way he... Her phone rang. Unknown number. Her hand shook as she answered. Hello? Lena Carter. Not a question. A statement. His voice was low, smooth, the kind that made you forget what you were going to say. How did you... You work for me. Finding your number wasn't difficult. A pause. The emoji was an accident, I assume. Yes, I mean, I didn't mean to. I was just scrolling and my phone slipped. Relax. The word was almost amused. I'm not calling to fire you. Then why are you calling? Silence. Long enough that she thought the line had dropped. I don't know yet, he said finally. Where do you live? What? Your address. I'm not giving you my address. I already have it. Of course he did. Employee records. She closed her eyes. Why do you need it? Because I'm curious. About what? You. Another pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Wait. The line went dead. Lena stared at her phone, then at her apartment, clothes on the floor, dishes in the sink, the faint smell of old takeout she'd forgotten to throw away. Dominic Varela, billionaire, CEO, man who probably lived in a penthouse that cost more than her entire building, was coming here. She moved without thinking, clothes into the hamper, dishes into the dishwasher, takeout containers into the trash. She lit a candle, then blew it out because it smelled like vanilla, and that felt too desperate. She changed out of her work clothes into jeans and a sweater, then changed again because that felt too casual, then changed back because she didn't know what the protocol was for your boss showing up at your apartment at midnight. There was no protocol for this. 19 minutes later, someone knocked. Lena stood in the middle of her apartment, heart hammering. She counted to 3, opened the door. Dominic Varela stood in the hallway, still in the tux from the photo, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. Hi, he said. Hi. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. He looked past her, into the apartment. Can I come in? Every instinct screamed no. Sure. She stepped aside. He walked past her, and she caught the faint scent of expensive cologne and something else. Smoke, maybe, or whiskey. He stopped in the center of the room, taking it in with the same precision he probably used to assess quarterly reports. Nice place, he said. You're a terrible liar. The corner of his mouth lifted. Not quite a smile. Fair. Lena closed the door, crossed her arms. Why are you here? He turned to face her. Up close, he was taller than she'd realized, broader, the kind of presence that made small spaces feel smaller. The emoji, he said. I told you, it was an accident. I know. He tilted his head slightly. But you didn't block me, didn't delete the app. You just unreacted and hoped I wouldn't notice. I didn't think you'd notice. I notice everything. The words hung between them, heavy with implication. Lena shifted her weight. So what now? You wanted to see if I was some kind of, I don't know, stalker? No. He moved closer. Not threatening, just deliberate. I wanted to see if you'd lie about it. I didn't lie. Exactly. He stopped a few feet away, eyes locked on hers. Do you know how rare that is? People not lying to you? People not being afraid to. She should have been afraid. He was her boss. He could fire her with a word, destroy her career with less. But standing there, in her tiny apartment with its secondhand furniture and peeling paint, she didn't feel afraid. She felt something else entirely. I'm not afraid of you, she said. You should be. Why? He smiled then, a real one. It changed his whole face. Because I came here at midnight based on an emoji. That's not normal behavior. No, Lena agreed. It's not. And you let me in anyway. Also not normal. They stared at each other. The silence stretched, pulled tight like a wire about to snap. I've seen you around the office, Dominic said finally. You're good at your job. Thanks. You keep your head down, don't play politics, don't chase attention. He paused. Why? Because attention gets you noticed. And when you get noticed, people expect things. What kind of things? More than you can give. He considered that. And the emoji? Was that you wanting to be noticed? No, that was my thumb slipping. Right. He didn't sound convinced. Lena uncrossed her arms. Look, I don't know what you think this is, but have dinner with me. She blinked. What? Tomorrow night. Dinner. You're asking me out? Yes. You're my boss. I'm aware. People don't, you can't just, I can. He said it simply, like gravity or math. A fact. And I am, 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up. I didn't say yes. You didn't say no. Lena's brain was moving too fast, thoughts tripping over each other. This was insane. He was insane. She should say no. Absolutely, unequivocally, no. Where? She heard herself ask. Does it matter? Yes. Because I need to know if this is a wear the black dress situation or a wear literally anything else's situation. He smiled again. Wear the black dress. I don't have a black dress. Then get one. I'll cover it. I'm not letting you buy me clothes. Why not? Because that's, She stopped, regrouped. I'll find something, but if this is weird, I'm leaving. Define weird. If you spend the whole dinner talking about work, or asking me strange questions, or, I don't know, being creepy. Fair terms. He pulled out his phone, typed something. I need your number. You called me 20 minutes ago. From the office line, I need your actual number. She rattled it off. His phone chimed as he saved it. 7 o'clock, he said again. Then he walked to the door, paused with his hand on the knob. For what it's worth. What? I'm glad your thumb slipped. He left before she could respond. Lena stood in the middle of her apartment, door closed, mind spinning. What the hell just happened? She called Maya at 7 a.m. Someone better be dead, Maya groaned. Dominic Varela asked me out. Silence. Maya? I'm sorry, what? Lena explained. The emoji, the phone call, the late-night visit, the dinner invitation. Holy shit, Maya said when she finished. Holy actual shit. I know. You said yes? I didn't say no. Lena, Maya's voice shifted, serious now. Do you know who this guy is? My boss. He's not just your boss, he's Dominic Varela. The Dominic Varela. Net worth somewhere in the billions. Owns half the real estate in the city. I've read articles about him. He doesn't date. He doesn't do relationships. He just exists on some other plane where normal rules don't apply. I know. And you're going to dinner with him. Apparently. Maya exhaled. Okay. We need to get you a dress. Like, now. It's 7 in the morning. Stores open at 10. We'll be there at 9:55. Lena wanted to argue. Wanted to say this was all moving too fast, that she should cancel, that this was a terrible idea. But she didn't. Well, the dress was simple. Black, like he'd said, but not flashy. It hit just above the knee, sleeves to the elbow, neckline that showed nothing and everything at the same time. Maya had insisted on shoes, heels that made Lena 3 inches taller and significantly less stable. You look hot, Maya declared. I look like I'm trying too hard. Same thing. By 6:45, Lena was pacing her apartment, second-guessing everything. The dress, the shoes, the fact that she'd agreed to this in the first place. At 6:58, her phone buzzed. Dominic. Outside. She grabbed her bag, checked her reflection one last time, and headed down. The car was black, sleek, expensive in a way that didn't need to announce itself. The back door opened as she approached. Dominic sat inside, suit swapped for dark slacks and a white shirt, top button undone. He looked up as she slid in. You found a dress, he said. I'm resourceful. I'm learning that. The driver pulled away from the curb. Lena didn't recognize the streets they turned down. Uptown, definitely, heading toward the part of the city where buildings had names instead of numbers. "Where are we going?" she asked. "You'll see. That's not ominous at all." He smiled. "Do you always deflect with humor? Do you always avoid direct questions?" "Yes." At least he was honest. They stopped in front of a building Lena had seen in magazines, the kind of place you needed a reservation 6 months in advance and a bank account that didn't flinch at 3-digit entrees. "This is too much," she said. It's dinner. This is not dinner. This is... I don't even know what this is." "Then let's find out." Inside, the host greeted Dominic by name, led them to a private table in the back. Candles, low lighting, a window overlooking the city. "Do you do this often?" Lena asked once they were seated. "Eat? Bring women here." "No." He leaned back in his chair. "I don't date." "Then what is this?" "I don't know yet." The waiter appeared, poured water, rattled off specials Lena didn't process. Dominic ordered wine without looking at the menu, something French she'd never heard of. "You're not what I expected," he said once they were alone again. "What did you expect? Someone more... impressed?" "By what? The car? The restaurant?" She gestured around. "This is nice. It's very nice, but it's just stuff." "Just stuff," he repeated, amused. "Isn't it?" He studied her. "Most people don't see it that way." "Maybe you're spending time with the wrong people." The wine arrived. He poured for both of them, raised his glass. "To accidents." Lena hesitated, then lifted hers. "To thumbs that slip at the wrong time." They drank. "Tell me something," Dominic said. "Why finance?" "Why not?" "That's not an answer." "Neither was your question." She set her glass down. "Why does anyone do anything? I'm good with numbers. I needed a job. Your company was hiring. There's more to it than that." "Maybe. But we just met. I'm not giving you my whole life story over appetizers." "Fair." He tilted his head. "What will it take?" "For what?" "For you to trust me." Lena laughed. "Trust? You showed up at my apartment at midnight. You're my boss. You brought me to a restaurant that probably costs more than my rent. And you're asking about trust?" "Yes." "Why do you even care?" "Because I don't understand you." He said it plainly, like admitting a weakness. "And I don't like not understanding things." "So this is... what? Research?" "No." He leaned forward. "This is me trying to figure out why an accidental emoji felt like the first real thing that's happened to me in years." The words hit harder than they should have. Lena looked down at her glass, the wine catching the candlelight. "That's a lot of pressure to put on a fire emoji," she said quietly. "I know." The food came, they ate, talked about small things, movies, music, the weather, surface-level conversations that felt like a dance, each of them testing boundaries, seeing how far they could push before the other pulled back. By the time dessert arrived, Lena had relaxed. Not completely, but enough. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Go ahead." "Why don't you date?" Dominic set his fork down. "Because it's complicated." "Everything's complicated." "Not like this." He paused. "When you have what I have, money, influence, access, people want things. They smile and pretend they don't, but they do. And after a while, you stop being able to tell who's real and who's performing." "That sounds lonely." "It is." Lena met his eyes. "So why me?" "Because you unreacted to the emoji." He smiled slightly. "Because you didn't want me to see it. Because when I called, you didn't apologize or try to explain it away. You just told the truth. The truth is messy." "I don't mind messy." They left the restaurant just after 10. The driver was waiting, but Dominic waved him off. "Walk with me," he said. They walked. The city at night was different, quieter, sharper, full of shadows and light in equal measure. Lena's heels clicked against the pavement. "These shoes are killing me," she admitted. "Take them off." "On the street?" "Why not?" She stopped, slipped them off, dangling them from one hand. The concrete was cool under her feet. "Better?" Dominic asked. "Much." They kept walking. "This was nice," Lena said after a while. Weird, but nice. Weird how? I don't know. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. Maybe there isn't one. There's always one. He stopped, turned to face her. They were standing under a streetlight, the glow catching in his eyes. What if I told you I wanted to see you again, he said. I'd ask why. Because I do. That's not a reason. It's the only one I have. Lena looked at him, really looked, saw the control, yes, the precision, but underneath something else, something uncertain. Okay, she said. Okay? I'll see you again. His expression shifted, relief maybe, or surprise. Tomorrow? I have work tomorrow. So do I. Lunch? You're very persistent. I know what I want. And what's that? More time with you. Lena's heart did something complicated in her chest. She ignored it. Lunch, she agreed, but somewhere normal. No five-star restaurants, no drivers, just normal. Define normal. Sandwiches, coffee, places where the menu doesn't make me feel like I need a translator. He smiled. Deal. They started walking again, slower this time. Can I ask you something else? Lena said. Always. What happens when this stops being exciting? When the novelty wears off? Dominic didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was quieter. I don't think it will. How do you know? I don't. He glanced at her, but I'm willing to find out. They reached her building too soon. Dominic walked her to the door, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable again. Thank you, Lena said, for tonight. Thank you for saying yes. I didn't say yes. I just didn't say no. Semantics. She laughed, turned to go inside. Lena. She looked back. The emoji, he said. Fire. Was that on purpose? The reaction setting? Yeah. Maya convinced me to change it months ago. Why fire? I don't know. It felt honest. He nodded slowly. It was. She went inside, climbed the stairs to her apartment, closed the door behind her. Her phone buzzed. Dominic, tomorrow, noon. I'll find somewhere normal. Lena, looking forward to it. She set her phone down, kicked off the shoes she was still carrying, and sat on the couch. Her life had been predictable, safe, boring, if she was being honest. And now she didn't know what it was. But for the first time in 11 months, maybe longer, she wanted to find out. The next morning arrived too quickly. Lena woke to sunlight streaming through her window and the immediate, visceral memory of Dominic Varela standing in her apartment at midnight. For a moment, she wondered if she'd dreamed the whole thing. Then her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Dominic. Good morning. Dominic. There's a place on 5th and Morton. Small, good coffee, terrible ambiance. Meet me there at noon? She stared at the messages, still half asleep, brain trying to catch up with reality. Lena. Terrible ambiance? You really know how to sell it. Dominic. You asked for normal. That's as normal as I get. Lena. Fine. Noon. She rolled out of bed, showered, stared at her closet for too long. What did you wear to lunch with your billionaire boss who'd asked you out based on an accidental emoji? Business casual felt wrong. Too casual felt worse. She settled on jeans and a blouse, threw a jacket over it, called it good enough. Maya texted at 9. Maya. How was it? Lena. Good, weird, I don't know. Maya. Details. Now. Lena. Later. I have another lunch with him today. Maya. What? Lena. I know. Maya. Be careful, seriously. Lena. I will. She wasn't sure if that was true. Work passed in a blur. Lena sat at her desk, spreadsheets open, numbers swimming in front of her eyes. She kept checking the time. 11:15, 11:30, 11:45. At 11:50, she grabbed her bag and headed out. The place on 5th and Morton was exactly as advertised. Small. A handful of tables crammed too close together. Fluorescent lighting that made everyone look vaguely ill. The kind of diner that served coffee in chipped mugs and didn't apologize for it. Dominic sat in the back corner, white shirt rolled to his elbows, reading something on his phone. He looked up as she approached. You're early, he said. So are you. I'm always early. She slid into the seat across from him. The vinyl squeaked. This is definitely terrible ambiance. Told you. He flagged down a waitress who looked like she'd been working there since the building was new. 2 coffees, black. I take cream, Lena said. She takes cream, Dominic amended. The waitress nodded, disappeared. How do you know about this place? Lena asked. I grew up near here. That surprised her. Really? Why is that surprising? I don't know. I guess I figured you grew up in, I don't know, somewhere expensive. I did, eventually. He set his phone down. But not at first. The coffee arrived. Lena added cream, watched it swirl into clouds. What was it like, growing up here? Loud, crowded. My mother worked 2 jobs. My father... He paused. My father had other priorities. Like what? Building an empire. He said it without emotion. A fact. He was good at it, just not good at much else. Lena wrapped her hands around the mug. Is that why you don't date? Because of him? Partly. Dominic took a sip of his coffee, made a face. This is terrible. You picked it. I know. He set the mug down. My father believed relationships were transactions. You gave something, you got something back. Love was inefficient. That's bleak. It's practical. It's still bleak. He smiled slightly. Maybe. They ordered food. Sandwiches that came with chips and pickles, the bread slightly stale, the lettuce wilted. It was perfect. Can I ask you something? Dominic said. You keep asking that. And you keep saying yes. Lena bit into her sandwich. Go ahead. Why did you let me in last night? To your apartment. You didn't know me. You could have said no. I could have. She wiped mustard from the corner of her mouth. But you didn't feel dangerous. How do you know? I don't, but I've got pretty good instincts about people. And what do your instincts say about me? She considered him. The way he sat. Controlled but not stiff. The way he looked at her, direct without being aggressive. You're lonely, you're careful, and you're trying really hard to pretend you're not both. Something flickered in his expression. That's fairly accurate. I'm observant, clearly. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Outside, the city moved past the window, people rushing, cars honking, the rhythm of a place that never stopped. What about you? Dominic asked. Why finance? The real reason. Lena set her sandwich down. My dad was terrible with money, not in a fun way, in a we're getting evicted again way. I watched my mom try to hold everything together with duct tape and prayer. Didn't work. She picked at a chip. I figured if I understood money, how it moved, how it worked, I'd never end up like that. Did it work? Mostly. I'm not rich, but I'm stable. That counts for something. It counts for a lot. Does it? She met his eyes. You have more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes. Are you stable? No. He said it immediately. But I'm working on it. How? I don't know yet. He leaned back. Maybe that's why I'm here. At a terrible diner with me? Yes. Lena felt something shift. A wall coming down maybe, or a door opening. She wasn't sure which. Her phone buzzed. Work. She glanced at it, silenced it. You need to go? Dominic asked. Probably, but I'm not going to. Rebel. Hardly. She finished her coffee. This was nice. Actually nice. Not fancy restaurant nice, just nice. We could do it again? When? Tomorrow? You're very persistent. You said that already. It's still true. He smiled, a real one. Tomorrow, same time, different place. Deal. They split the check, Lena insisted, and walked out into the afternoon sun. The street smelled like exhaust and street vendor pretzels. I have a meeting at 2, Dominic said, checking his watch, but I'll text you tonight. Okay? He hesitated, then stepped closer. Not touching, just closer. I meant what I said, about not knowing what this is, but I want to find out. Me too, Lena admitted. He left first. She watched him go, hands in his pockets, shoulders straight. A man who carried the weight of too much and made it look easy. Her phone buzzed again. Maya. Maya. Update. Now. Lena smiled, typed as she walked back to the office. Lena, it's complicated. Maya. Everything with you is complicated. Lena. Fair. That night, Dominic texted at 9. Dominic. Still awake? Lena. Barely. Long day. Dominic. Same. Question. Lena. Answer. Dominic. What's your favorite thing about the city? She thought about it, lying on her couch in the dark. Lena. The way it never sleeps. Even at 3 a.m., there's someone awake somewhere. Makes you feel less alone. Dominic. That's a good answer. Lena. What's yours? Dominic. The anonymity. You can be anyone here, or no one. Lena. Which do you prefer? Dominic. I'm still deciding. They texted until midnight. Small things, big things, everything in between. By the time Lena fell asleep, her phone was still in her hand. The next 3 weeks fell into a pattern. Lunch every day, texts every night. Slow, careful conversations that felt like archaeology, digging through layers, finding pieces, trying to assemble something whole. Dominic took her to places she'd never been. Not fancy restaurants, he'd learned his lesson, but coffee shops in neighborhoods she didn't know, parks at odd hours, a bookstore that stayed open until 2 in the morning and sold poetry by the pound. This is insane, Lena said, standing in the bookstore, arms full of random volumes Dominic had pulled from shelves. It's $4 a pound, he said. That's a bargain. For books you're never going to read. How do you know I won't read them? Because one of them is in Russian. He glanced at the cover. Good point. He put it back, pulled out another. This one's in English. It's a cookbook from 1987. So? So when was the last time you cooked anything? He paused. I'll start. She laughed, actually laughed. The sound surprised her. They bought 12 pounds of books. Dominic carried them like they weighed nothing. But it wasn't all easy. There were moments when Lena caught glimpses of something else. The way Dominic's jaw tightened when his phone rang with certain numbers. The careful way he avoided talking about his family. The nights when he'd go quiet mid-conversation, disappearing into whatever thoughts he kept locked away. 3 weeks in, they were sitting on a bench in Riverside Park, watching the sun set over the water. Dominic's phone had been ringing nonstop for the past hour. He'd ignored every call. You can answer that, Lena said. I don't mind. I mind. Dominic. He looked at her. It's work. It can wait. Can it? Yes. But his expression said otherwise. Lena reached over, took his hand. His fingers were warm, calloused in unexpected places. Talk to me. About what? Whatever's making you look like that. Like what? Like you're carrying something heavy and won't let anyone help. He was quiet for a long time, long enough that she thought he wouldn't answer. There's a deal, he said finally. Big one. Acquisition of a commercial real estate portfolio. 50 buildings, half of them in the city, worth about $3 billion. Lena whistled low. That's a lot of buildings. It is, and there's a problem. What kind of problem? The kind that involves people who don't like being told no. He pulled his hand back, ran it through his hair. One of my competitors is pushing hard. Marcus Chen. He's aggressive. Doesn't care about regulations or ethics or anything that gets in the way of what he wants. And what does he want? The same buildings I do, and he's willing to do things I'm not to get them. Like what? Dominic's expression darkened. Intimidation, threats. There are rumors he's got people on city planning boards in his pocket, inspectors who look the other way, that kind of thing. That's illegal. It is, but proving it is a different story. Lena processed that. So what are you going to do? I don't know yet. He looked at her. But I won't do what he does. I won't compromise like that. Even if it means losing? Even then. She believed him. That was the strange part. A month ago, she wouldn't have. But now, sitting next to him, watching the way his shoulders carried tension like armor, she did. For what it's worth, she said, I think that's the right call. Do you? Yeah. Money's just money, but who you are, that's harder to get back once you lose it. He smiled. Small, but real. You're very wise for someone who's only 28. I'm a fast learner. His phone rang again. This time, he answered. What? Pause. I told you to handle it. Another pause. His expression shifted. When? Silence. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, stood. I have to go. Is everything okay? No, but it will be. He looked down at her. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. You don't have to. I want to. He hesitated, then leaned down, kissed her forehead. Quick, almost tentative. I'll call you later. He left before she could respond. Lena sat on the bench, hand pressed to where his lips had been, heart doing complicated things. This was getting real, dangerously real. He didn't call that night, or the next day. By the third day, Lena was starting to worry. She texted him twice, no response, called once, voicemail. Maya noticed at work. You okay? She asked, appearing at Lena's desk with coffee. You look stressed. I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. Maya sat on the edge of the desk. Is it him? I don't want to talk about it. Which means yes. Maya handed her the coffee. What happened? Nothing, I think. He had some work thing, emergency. He said he'd call and then didn't. Men are trash. He's not trash, he's just... Lena stopped. I don't know what he is. Busy? Maybe. Or maybe he's realizing this is complicated and backing off. Lena had thought the same thing, hated that she'd thought it. Either way, Maya continued, you can't just sit here spiraling. Go do something. Distract yourself. With what? I don't know. Literally anything that isn't staring at your phone waiting for him to text. She was right. Lena knew she was right. That night, she went to the gym, ran on the treadmill until her legs burned and her lungs screamed. Came home, showered, made dinner, normal things, grounding things. Her phone rang at 11. Dominic. She answered on the second ring. Hi. Hi. His voice sounded rough, tired. I'm sorry. For what? Disappearing, I meant to call. Things got complicated. Are you okay? I am now. A pause. Can I see you? Now? Yes. Lena looked at the clock. It's 11 at night. I know. I need to see you. Please. There was something in his voice, something raw. Okay, she said. Same place as before? No, I'll send you an address. The address he sent was in Tribeca, a building with a doorman and an elevator that required a key card. Lena wrote it to the top floor, stepped out into a hallway with exactly one door. Dominic answered before she knocked. He looked different, still put together, but barely. Shirt untucked, sleeves rolled up, hair like he'd been running his hands through it for hours. Come in, he said. The apartment was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, furniture that looked expensive and unused, the kind of place that felt more like a museum than a home. This is where you live? Lena asked. Technically. He closed the door. I don't spend much time here. Why not? Because it doesn't feel like mine. She understood that. Turned to face him. What happened? Dominic walked to the windows, hands in his pockets. Marcus Chen made a move, leaked some information about the acquisition to the press, made it look like I was trying to monopolize the commercial market, force out small businesses. Were you? No, but perception matters more than truth. He turned. My lawyers are handling it, putting out statements, damage control. But it's going to be a fight. I'm sorry. Don't be. I knew what I was getting into. He crossed the room, stopped in front of her. But I realized something these past 3 days. What? That the only thing that felt real was you. Everything else, the deals, the money, the reputation, it all felt like noise. But thinking about you, wanting to talk to you, that felt real. Lena's breath caught. Dominic, I know this is fast. I know it's probably too much, but I don't care. His eyes searched hers. I want this. You. Whatever this is. I want it. She should have been scared, should have pulled back, created distance, protected herself. Instead, she stepped forward. I want it too, she said. He kissed her then. Not tentative like the forehead kiss. Not careful. Just real. His hands on her face, her fingers tangling in his shirt, the city lights blurring behind closed eyes. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Lena laughed. What? Dominic asked. Nothing, just, this is insane. Completely. We barely know each other. I know. This could be a disaster. Probably. He smiled. But I'm willing to risk it. She kissed him again, because she was willing to risk it too. They spent the rest of the night talking, sitting on his couch that felt too expensive to sit on, drinking wine from glasses that probably cost more than her monthly rent, talking about everything and nothing. Dominic told her about his father, the cold, calculating man who built an empire and forgot to build a family. His mother, who tried to soften the edges but couldn't compete with ambition. His childhood spent in boardrooms instead of playgrounds. Lena told him about her parents, the fights about money that turned into fights about everything, the day her father left and didn't come back, the way her mother worked herself to exhaustion, trying to prove she didn't need help. We're kind of a mess, Lena said around 3 a.m. We really are, Dominic agreed. Does that bother you? No. He pulled her closer. I think I prefer it. She fell asleep on his couch, his arm around her shoulders, the city humming outside the windows. When she woke, the sun was up and Dominic was gone. There was a note on the coffee table. Had to deal with something. Stay as long as you want. Coffee's in the kitchen. I'll call you later. Lena smiled, folded the note, tucked it in her pocket. This was insane. Completely, utterly insane. But she'd never felt more awake. The next week, things shifted. Dominic started introducing her to parts of his life he'd kept separate. Dinners with business associates, not as his employee, but as someone who mattered. Meetings where he'd ask her opinion, listen when she spoke, actually consider what she said. You're good at this, he told her one night after a dinner with potential investors. At what? Reading people. Knowing what they want before they say it. That's just survival skills. No, it's more than that. He took her hand as they walked. You see things I miss. Like what? Like the fact that Anderson was lying about his cash flow, or that Morrison's wife hates him and he's trying to buy her affection with the deal. Lena had noticed both those things. You noticed them too. Eventually, you saw it immediately. So? So I think you're wasted in finance. She stopped walking. What does that mean? It means you could do more. Be more. If you wanted. I'm fine where I am. Are you? The question hung between them. Lena didn't have an answer, but things weren't perfect. The press had picked up on their relationship. Photos of them leaving restaurants. Speculation about who she was, what she wanted, why someone like Dominic Varela would be with someone like her. Lena tried to ignore it. Mostly succeeded. Then the messages started. The first one came through Instagram. A blank profile, no followers, no posts. He'll get bored. They always do. She deleted it. The second came the next day. You're nothing special, just convenient. Delete. The third was worse. Careful. People who get close to him tend to disappear. Lena stared at that one longer, then showed it to Dominic. His expression went cold. Block them. I did. They keep making new accounts. I'll handle it. How? I have people for this. He took her phone, forwarded the messages to someone. They'll trace the IP, find out who's doing this. Dominic, it's just trolls. It's not. His voice was hard. Trust me. This is something else. 3 days later, he told her what his people had found. Marcus Chen. He's trying to get to me through you, Dominic explained. They were in his apartment, rain streaking the windows. Scare you off, make you think I'm dangerous. Are you? Not to you. But to him? Dominic didn't answer directly. Chen plays dirty, always has. He thinks everyone operates the way he does. That fear is the best motivator. What are you going to do? What I should have done weeks ago. He stood, paced. I'm going to end this. The acquisition, the games, all of it. How? By being better than him. He turned to face her. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I need you to know. If you want out, I understand. This isn't what you signed up for. Lena stood, crossed the room, took his face in her hands. I'm not going anywhere, she said. Lena, I'm not going anywhere, she said it firmly. You don't get to make that choice for me. Something in him softened. You're sure? I'm terrified, but I'm sure. He kissed her, deep and desperate and real. Okay, he said against her lips. Okay. That night, they made plans, real plans. Dominic would move forward with the acquisition, but clean, by the book. No shortcuts, no compromises. It would take longer, cost more, but it would be right, and Lena would help. Not officially, but behind the scenes, using the skills she'd honed in finance, she'd dig through Chen's deals, find the cracks, the inconsistencies, the places where he'd cut corners. It wasn't legal work, wasn't official, but it was something. We're really doing this, Lena said, sitting on the floor surrounded by papers. We really are, Dominic confirmed. This is insane. You keep saying that. It keeps being true. He smiled, pulled her close. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. And despite everything, the threats, the pressure, the absolute chaos of falling for someone like Dominic Varela, Lena believed him. The work consumed them. Lena stopped going home most nights, crashing on Dominic's couch instead, surrounded by spreadsheets and legal documents that made her eyes cross. She'd never worked this hard on anything that wasn't officially her job, never cared this much about something that didn't directly affect her paycheck. But this wasn't about money. It was about proving something, to Chen, to Dominic, to herself. 2 weeks into their investigation, Lena found the first crack. Look at this, she said, shoving her laptop toward Dominic. It was 3 a.m. They were both exhausted, running on coffee and spite. He leaned over, squinting at the screen. What am I looking at? Chen's acquisition of the Bryant Street properties last year, the inspection reports. What about them? They're identical. All 15 buildings, same language, same signatures filed on the same day. She pulled up another window. But the buildings weren't inspected on the same day. They couldn't have been. 3 of them were still occupied. The tenants didn't move out until 2 weeks after these reports were filed. Dominic's expression changed. He forged them. Or paid someone to backdate them. Either way, it's fraud. Can we prove it? Lena chewed her lip. Maybe. If we can find the original inspector, get them to testify. That's a big if. It's something. She closed the laptop. More than we had yesterday. He pulled her close, kissed the top of her head. You're brilliant. I'm tired. That too. They slept for a few hours, tangled together on the couch. When Lena woke, Dominic was already up, on the phone, pacing by the windows. I don't care what it costs, he was saying. Find the inspector. Offer protection if they need it. Immunity if they cooperate. A pause. Good. Keep me updated. He hung up, saw Lena watching. Morning. Who was that? My legal team. They're tracking down the inspector from Bryant Street. That was fast. I pay them to be fast. He crossed to the couch, sat beside her. You okay? Define okay. Fair question. He rubbed his face. Stubble shadowed his jaw. He looked human like this. Tired and uncertain and real. I didn't sleep much. Me neither. I keep thinking about what happens if this doesn't work. If we can't prove anything. If Chen wins anyway. Then we tried, Lena said. That's more than most people do. Is it enough? It has to be. His phone rang again. He checked it, frowned. I need to take this. Go ahead. He answered, voice shifting into the clipped, professional tone he used for business. Varela. Pause. When? Another pause. His jaw tightened. I'll be there in an hour. He hung up, already moving toward the bedroom. What's wrong? Lena called after him. Press conference, Chen's calling one for noon. My PR team thinks it's about the acquisition. What's he going to say? Nothing good. Dominic emerged, buttoning a fresh shirt. I need to be there. Counter whatever narrative he's spinning. Can I come? He stopped. You don't have to eat. I want to. She stood. If this is going to affect us, I should see it. Lena, if you're there, if people see us together, let them see. She grabbed her jacket. I'm not hiding. Something flickered in his expression. Pride, maybe? Or fear. Okay, but stay close to me. The press conference was held at the Meridian Hotel, downtown. By the time they arrived, the lobby was packed with reporters, cameras, people holding microphones and recorders. Dominic's hand found Lena's as they pushed through the crowd. Mr. Varela, is it true you're dropping the Riverside acquisition? Mr. Varela, who's your companion? Dominic, over here. He ignored them all, face a mask of control. They made it to the conference room just as Marcus Chen took the podium. Chen was older than Dominic. Mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit. He smiled at the cameras like a politician. Thank you all for coming, he began. I'll make this brief. As many of you know, Varela Capital has been aggressively pursuing the Riverside commercial portfolio. What you may not know is the methods being employed. Lena felt Dominic tense beside her. I have evidence, Chen continued, that suggests Mr. Varela has been engaging in predatory business practices, threatening small business owners, manipulating property values, using his considerable resources to force competitors out of the market. That's a lie, Dominic said, loud enough that several reporters turned. Chen smiled. Is it? Then perhaps Mr. Varela can explain why 3 business owners in the Riverside district have filed complaints with the city, or why property values in that area have mysteriously dropped 20% in the past month. Property values fluctuate, Dominic shot back, and I've never threatened anyone. Then you won't mind if we open an investigation. Chen's smile widened. I've already contacted the city's Business Ethics Committee. They'll be reviewing all recent transactions related to the Riverside portfolio. Both yours and mine. The room erupted. Questions flying from every direction. Cameras flashing. Lena gripped Dominic's hand tighter. We need to go, she murmured. Not yet. Dominic. Mr. Chen, Dominic called out, cutting through the noise. The room quieted. If you're so confident in your own ethics, why did you backdate inspection reports on the Bryant Street properties? Chen's smile faltered. Just for a second. But Lena saw it. I don't know what you're talking about, Chen said. Don't you? Because I have documentation that says otherwise. 15 inspection reports, all filed on the same day for buildings that hadn't been vacated yet. That's fraud, Mr. Chen. Those are serious accusations. Yes, they are. Dominic stepped forward. So here's what's going to happen. The Ethics Committee can investigate both of us, all our transactions, every document, every signature, and we'll see who comes out clean. The room went quiet. Chen's expression hardened. You're making a mistake, Varela. I don't think I am. They left before Chen could respond, Dominic pulling Lena through a side exit. They made it to the car, the driver pulling away from the curb before the press could catch up. That was stupid, Lena said once they were moving. Probably. You just painted a target on your back. It was already there that... He looked at her. But I couldn't let him lie like that. Not when I know what he's done. What if the committee finds something in your records? They won't, because there's nothing to find. He took her hand. I play by the rules, Lena. Always have. It's slower. It's harder. But it's the only way I know how. She believed him. That was the terrifying part. She believed him completely. The fallout was immediate. By evening, every news outlet in the city was running the story. Split screens of Dominic and Chen, analysts debating ethics and business practices, speculation about the investigation. Dominic's phone didn't stop ringing. His lawyers, his board. Investors wanting reassurance. He fielded them all from his apartment, pacing the length of the windows, voice never wavering. Lena watched from the couch, laptop open, monitoring news feeds. Her own phone buzzed constantly. Maya, her mother. People from work she barely knew, asking if she was okay, if the rumors were true. She ignored most of them. Answered Maya with a single text. Lena, I'm fine. Tell you later. Around 9, Dominic's lead attorney called. Lena could only hear one side of the conversation, but it was enough. How long will it take? Dominic asked. Pause. That's too long. Another pause. Fine. Do it. He hung up, scrubbed a hand over his face. What'd they say? Lena asked. The inspector from Bryant Street. They found him. He's willing to testify, but he's scared, wants protection first. Can you give it to him? Already arranged it. He'll have private security until this is over. And then what? Then we wait. Dominic dropped onto the couch beside her. The committee's investigation will take weeks, maybe months. Until then, everything's in limbo. Can you afford that? The waiting? I don't have a choice. He leaned his head back, eyes closed. This is what Chen wanted. To tie me up in bureaucracy. Make me too expensive to deal with. Force me to back off. Are you going to? No. Good. He opened his eyes, looked at her. You should be running. This is going to get messy. I know. Lena, I'm not running, she said firmly. Stop asking me to. I'm not asking. I'm giving you an out. I don't want an out. I want this. She gestured between them. You. Us. Whatever this is. I want it. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. They stayed like that for a long time, the city lights flickering beyond the windows, the world spinning on without them. The next few weeks were brutal. The ethics committee launched their investigation, requesting documents, interviewing witnesses, digging through years of transactions. Dominic cooperated fully, turning over everything they asked for. Chen did the same, maintaining his innocence, smiling for cameras. The press had a field day. Every day brought new headlines, new speculation. Lena learned to stop reading them. Most were garbage anyway. Invented drama, misquoted sources, photos taken out of context. But some got too close to the truth. One morning, a tabloid ran a photo of her and Dominic leaving his building. The headline read, Varella's secret weapon. Who is the mystery woman? The article speculated about everything, her background, her job, whether she was feeding Dominic inside information from the company. It stopped just short of calling her a corporate spy. Maya called immediately. Have you seen this? Unfortunately. Are you okay? Define okay. Lena, seriously. This is getting out of hand. Maybe you should— Don't, Lena interrupted. Don't tell me to leave him. I'm not doing it. I'm worried about you. I know, but I'm fine. Really. Are you? Lena looked around Dominic's apartment. She'd been staying there for 3 weeks straight. Her own place was gathering dust. Her clothes were in his closet, her toothbrush in his bathroom. She'd basically moved in without either of them acknowledging it. I'm happy, she said finally. Stressed and exhausted and scared, but happy. Maya was quiet for a moment. Okay, but if you need me, I know where to find you. Dominic came home that night looking worse than usual, tie loosened, hair disheveled, shadows under his eyes. Bad day? Lena asked from the kitchen, where she was attempting to make pasta. You could say that. He dropped his briefcase, crossed to where she stood. Chen's team found something. Her stomach dropped. What? A transaction from 5 years ago. Property in Queens. The paperwork's messy. Signatures don't quite match up. Could be clerical error, could be something else. Is it something else? I don't know. I honestly don't remember. 5 years ago, I was doing 50 deals a month. My father was still running things. Half the time I signed what he put in front of me. So what does that mean? It means Chen's lawyers are going to claim I've been cutting corners all along, that this is a pattern, not an isolated incident. Lena turned off the stove. The pasta could wait. What did your lawyers say? That it's circumstantial, but it looks bad, especially now. Can they prove you did anything wrong? No, because I didn't, but proving a negative is almost impossible. She took his face in her hands. Then we fight it, like everything else. Lena, if this tanks the acquisition, if my reputation, then we deal with it, together. He kissed her, hard and desperate, like she was the only solid thing in a world spinning out of control. I love you, he said against her lips. The words stopped her. They hadn't said it before, hadn't even approached it, but there it was, hanging between them, impossible to take back. Say something, Dominic murmured. I love you too, Lena said, because it was true. Terrifying and complicated and completely true. I love you too. They made love that night, slow and careful, like they were memorizing each other. Afterward, lying tangled in his sheets, Lena traced patterns on his chest. What are you thinking? Dominic asked. That a month ago I was eating ramen in my apartment and watching Netflix, and now I'm here, with you, in the middle of a corporate scandal. Regrets? Not even one. She propped herself up on one elbow. But I need to ask you something. Anything. If this all goes south, if you lose everything, the company, the money, all of it, would you still want this? He didn't hesitate. Yes. How do you know? Because the only time I feel like myself is when I'm with you. Everything else is just noise. That's a lot of pressure. I know, but it's true. She kissed him. Okay then. Okay then what? Okay then we fight. Whatever comes, we fight it together. Together, he agreed. The committee's preliminary findings came back 2 weeks later. No evidence of wrongdoing on Dominic's part. The Queen's transaction was deemed a clerical error, nothing more. But Chen's Bryant Street scandal was confirmed. Forged documents, bribed inspectors, the whole thing. The press went wild. Chen held a press conference, claiming innocence, blaming subordinates. No one believed him. Within days, he withdrew from the Riverside acquisition. Within a week, his company announced he was stepping down as CEO, pending further investigation. It was over. Dominic got the call from his lawyers on a Thursday afternoon. Lena was at work, actual work, for the first time in weeks, when her phone buzzed. Dominic. We won. Lena. What? Dominic. Committee cleared us. Chen's out. The acquisition's ours. Lena. Oh my God. Dominic. Dinner tonight. Celebrate properly. Lena. Where? Dominic. Surprise. The surprise was a rooftop restaurant Lena had never heard of. Private room, candles, a view that made the city look like a painting. This is too much, she said, taking it in. It's exactly right. Dominic pulled out her chair. We earned this. You earned this. No. We. He sat across from her. I couldn't have done it without you. The Bryant Street documents, the research, all of it, that was you. I just helped. You did more than help. He stopped, shook his head. You made me want to fight. Before you, I would have just paid Chen off, made the problem go away. But you made me want to do it right. You always wanted to do it right. Maybe, but I didn't always have the courage. He reached across the table, took her hand. You gave me that. Lena felt tears prick her eyes. Stop. You're going to make me cry. Good. They ordered food neither of them ate, drank wine that tasted like celebration and relief, talked about everything except business, what came next, where they'd go, what they'd build. I want you to move in, Dominic said as dessert arrived. Officially. Not just leaving your stuff in my closet. Actually move in. We've known each other 2 months. I know. That's crazy. I know that too. He smiled. But I don't care. I want you there. Every morning, every night. I want this to be real. It is real. Then say yes. Lena looked at him. This man who'd shown up at her door at midnight because of an emoji, who'd taken her to terrible diners and expensive restaurants, who'd fought for his reputation and his ethics and never once asked her to compromise hers. Yes, she said. His smile could have lit the city. They went back to his apartment, their apartment now, she supposed, and made love like they had all the time in the world, because maybe they did. Later, wrapped in sheets that smelled like him, Lena's phone buzzed on the nightstand. She almost ignored it, then saw the name. Maya. Maya. Emergency. Call me. Lena sat up, heart racing. What's wrong? Dominic stirred beside her. What? Maya. She says it's an emergency. She called. Maya answered on the first ring. Where are you? Maya's voice was tight. Home. Why? What happened? Have you seen the news? No. What news? Turn on channel 7, now. Lena fumbled for the remote, turned on the TV, flipped to channel 7. A reporter stood outside a building Lena recognized. Chen's corporate headquarters. Found dead in his office approximately 2 hours ago. Police are calling it an apparent suicide, though details are still emerging. Marcus Chen, CEO of Chen Industries, was 56 years old. This comes just days after his company announced he was stepping down amid allegations of fraud, and Lena dropped the remote. Lena? Maya's voice through the phone. Are you there? Yeah. Are you okay? I don't know. She hung up, stared at the screen. Chen's photo filled it now. That same smile he'd worn at the press conference. Confident, untouchable, dead. Dominic was already on his phone, calling someone. What do you know? Pause. When? Another pause. I need everything. Police reports, security footage, everything. He hung up, turned to Lena. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Know what? That this would... He stopped. Started again. I would never have pushed if I thought... Dominic. Lena grabbed his shoulders. This isn't your fault. This isn't it. I exposed him. Ruined his reputation, his company. He did that himself. You just brought it to light. Lena. No. She said it firmly. You didn't make him forge documents. You didn't make him bribe inspectors. You didn't put a gun to his head. He made choices. This was his choice too. Dominic's face crumpled. She'd never seen him like this. Lost. Shaking. She pulled him close, held him while he broke apart. The news played in the background. Chen's life reduced to sound bites and speculation. Another casualty of ambition and pride. Lena turned off the TV, held Dominic tighter. It's over, she whispered, but she wasn't sure if she meant the scandal or something else entirely. The days after Chen's death felt wrong, like walking through a room where someone had rearranged all the furniture in the dark. Dominic went through the motions, meetings, calls, signing papers, but Lena could see it eating at him, the way his jaw stayed tight, the way he'd stare out windows without seeing anything. You need to talk about it, she said on the third night. They were in bed, neither sleeping. What's there to talk about? The fact that you feel responsible. I don't. Liar. He turned his head on the pillow. Fine. Maybe I do. A little. More than a little. What do you want me to say, Lena? That I'm glad he's dead? I'm not. That I wish I'd done things differently? I do. But I can't change it now. No one's asking you to change it. She rolled onto her side, facing him. I'm asking you to stop punishing yourself for something you didn't do. I pushed him into a corner. He built the corner himself. You just turned on the lights. Dominic closed his eyes. It doesn't feel that simple. It never does. They lay in silence. Outside, the city hummed its endless song. Car horns, sirens, the rhythm of millions of lives happening simultaneously. My father would have seen this as a victory, Dominic said quietly. A competitor removed, problem solved. He would have celebrated. You're not your father. No, but sometimes I wonder how different we really are. Lena took his hand. You're different because you're lying here at 3 a.m. feeling guilty about a man who tried to destroy you. Your father wouldn't have lost a minute of sleep. Maybe that makes him smarter. Or just colder. Dominic opened his eyes. When I was 12, my father fired his CFO. Guy had been with the company 15 years, had a family, 3 kids, but he made one mistake on a quarterly report. One. And my father he snapped his fingers. Gone. No second chances. No conversation. Just gone. That's awful. I remember my mother trying to talk to him about it, saying maybe he could give the guy another chance. And my father looked at her like she'd suggested setting money on fire. He said, mercy is expensive, and I don't pay for things I don't need. Lena's chest tightened. Jesus. That was just how he operated. Everything was a transaction. Every relationship had a value, even family. Dominic's voice went rough. He told me once that loving people made you weak, that the moment you cared about someone, They became leverage someone else could use against you. Do you believe that? I used to. And now? He looked at her. Now I think maybe caring about someone is the only thing that makes you strong enough to be worth anything. She kissed him. Soft and slow, tasting salt and something else. Fear, maybe. Or hope. We're going to be okay, she whispered against his lips. How do you know? Because we have to be. It wasn't logic, wasn't even particularly convincing, but it was all they had. The police investigation into Chen's death concluded a week later. Suicide. No foul play. He'd left a note, though its contents were never made public. The media speculation died down. Chen Industries was sold off in pieces. The Riverside acquisition went through without a hitch. Dominic should have been relieved. Instead, he threw himself into work like a man running from something. He's not sleeping, Lena told Maya over coffee. They'd finally managed to meet up, first time in weeks. Not really. Maybe 3 hours a night. Have you talked to him about it? I've tried. He just says he's fine. Classic man move. I don't know what to do. He won't see a therapist, won't take time off, just keeps working. Maya stirred her coffee. Maybe work is how he processes things, or how he avoids processing them. Also possible. Maya leaned back. But you can't force him to deal with it on your timeline. He'll come around. Or he won't. Either way, you have to decide if you can live with that. That's not helpful. I'm not trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be honest. Lena hated that Maya was right. That night, she tried a different approach. Dominic came home late, tie already loosened, jacket slung over one arm. Hey, she said from the couch. Hey. He dropped the jacket on a chair. You eaten? Waiting for you. You didn't have to, I wanted to. She stood. But we're not eating here. He frowned. What? Come on. She grabbed his hand. Trust me. 20 minutes later, they were standing outside the diner on 5th and Morton, the same terrible place where they'd had their second lunch. Dominic stared at it. Why are we here? He asked. Because you need to remember something. Remember what? Who you are. She pushed open the door. Come on. Inside, nothing had changed. Same chipped mugs, same fluorescent lights, same waitress who looked like she'd seen everything twice. They sat in the same booth, ordered the same sandwiches. The coffee was still terrible. I don't understand, Dominic said. You told me once that this place reminded you of who you were before everything got complicated. Lena wrapped her hands around her mug. I think you need that reminder right now. Lena, you're not your father, and you're not Marcus Chen. You're the guy who brought me to a terrible diner because I asked for normal, who paid for books by the pound, who showed up at my apartment at midnight because of an emoji. She reached across the table. You're good, Dominic. What happened to Chen doesn't change that. His eyes were wet. What if I can't? What if I'm not? You are. I know you are. And eventually, you're going to know it too. They ate in silence. The sandwiches tasted exactly as bad as Lena remembered. It was perfect. Walking back to the apartment, Dominic's hand found hers. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For not letting me disappear. I'll never let you disappear. He stopped walking, turned to face her under a streetlight. Move in with me. For real. Not just your stuff in my closet. Actually move in. Make it ours, not mine. I already said yes to that. I know, but I want to hear it again. Yes. She smiled. Yes, I'll move in with you. Okay. He kissed her forehead. Okay. They spent the next weekend making it official. Lena brought what little she had from her apartment. Boxes of books, clothes, few photos. It didn't amount to much compared to the space they had. This is it? Dominic asked, looking at the 5 boxes stacked in the living room. I travel light. We need to get you more stuff. I don't need more stuff. Everyone needs stuff. Says the man with an apartment that looks like a museum. He laughed, actually laughed. It was the first time in weeks. Fair point. They spent the day rearranging, making space. Lena's books went on shelves next to Dominic's, her photos on tables, her coffee mug in the cabinet next to his. "This feels real," she said that evening, looking around. "It is real." "I know. But now it looks real too." Dominic pulled her close. "I love you." "I love you too." "Even when I'm being an idiot?" "Especially then." Things settled into something resembling normalcy. Dominic went back to sleeping more than 3 hours a night, started smiling again. The guilt didn't disappear. Lena didn't think it ever would, but it stopped consuming him. Work became work again instead of an escape. Lena officially resigned from her finance assistant position, much to the confusion of her former colleagues. Dominic offered her a job as his strategic advisor, a role that didn't really exist before but made sense once they defined it. "People are going to say you're only hiring me because we're together," Lena warned. "Let them. You're good at this, better than most of my actual staff." "I don't have an MBA. Neither did my father. He barely finished high school." Dominic shrugged. "Degrees don't mean much if you can't actually do the work. And you can." She took the job, immediately regretted it when she saw her new office. "This is ridiculous," she said, standing in the doorway. Floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that probably cost more than her old apartment, a desk the size of a small car. "It's standard," Dominic said from behind her. "For executives. I'm not an executive." "You are now." He kissed her cheek. "Get used to it." The work was different from what she'd done before. Instead of spreadsheets and data entry, she was in meetings, strategy sessions, sitting across from people who ran companies and made decisions that affected thousands of lives. It was terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. "You're good at this," Dominic told her after a particularly brutal negotiation with a property development firm. They'd gotten the terms they wanted, mostly because Lena had noticed a loophole in the contract the other side hadn't caught. "I just read the fine print. Most people don't." "Most people should." He smiled. "Come here. We're at work." "So? So people can see us." "I don't care." He pulled her into his office, closed the door, kissed her until she forgot why she'd been protesting. "We're going to start rumors," she said when they broke apart. "We've been rumors for months. At least now they're true. You're impossible. And you love me anyway." Unfortunately. But it wasn't unfortunate. It was the opposite of that. For the first time in her life, Lena felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. 2 months after Chen's death, a lawyer contacted Dominic. Chen's estate was being settled, and there were some items he'd left specifically to Dominic. "Why would he leave me anything?" Dominic asked Lena that night. They were having dinner at home, actual home-cooked dinner that Lena had made and only slightly burned. "Maybe it's an apology." Chen didn't apologize, not his style. "Then maybe it's something else." The items arrived a week later, 3 boxes delivered by courier to the apartment. Dominic stared at them like they might explode. "You want me to open them?" Lena offered. "No, I need to do it." The first box contained books. Business theory, strategy, some of them old enough that the pages were yellowing. "These were his father's," Dominic said, reading an inscription in one. He mentioned them once, said they were the only things worth keeping from his childhood. The second box had documents, copies of deals Chen had done over the years, some successful, some failures, notes in the margins in handwriting that looked shaky. "What is this?" Lena asked. "I think..." Dominic flipped through the pages. "I think it's a record of everything he did, good and bad." "Why would he send you this?" "I don't know." The third box was smaller. Inside was a single envelope addressed to Dominic in that same shaky handwriting. He opened it carefully. The letter was short. "Varela, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know something. You were right. About everything, the inspectors, the forged documents, all of it. I cut corners because I thought speed mattered more than integrity. I was wrong. My father built his company the same way. Shortcuts and bribes and whatever it took to win. He died alone in a hospital room with no one who cared enough to visit. I swore I wouldn't end up like that. But here we are. You have something I never did, Someone who cares about you for reasons that have nothing to do with your money or your power. Don't waste that. Don't let this business turn you into what it turned me into. The boxes contain everything I should have learned but didn't. Maybe you'll do better with it than I did. MC. Dominic read it twice, then handed it to Lena. She read it, throat tight. He knew. Knew what? That he'd already decided. Dominic took the letter back, folded it carefully. Yeah, I think he did. I'm sorry. Don't be. He made his choice, just like you said. But his hands were shaking as he put the letter back in the envelope. That night, Lena woke to find Dominic's side of the bed empty. She found him in the living room, sitting in the dark, the boxes from Chen spread around him. Couldn't sleep? She asked. Didn't want to wake you. She sat beside him on the floor. What are you thinking? That I could have ended up like him, if things had been different, if I'd made different choices. But you didn't. Only because of you. That's not true. Isn't it? He looked at her. Before you, I was just going through the motions, work, money, reputation. That's all there was. I would have kept doing it until, he gestured at the boxes, until this. You're stronger than that. I don't know if I am. Lena took his face in her hands. I do, and eventually you will too. They sat there until sunrise, surrounded by the remnants of a man who'd lost himself to ambition, a warning, a reminder. When morning came, Dominic made a decision. I want to start something new, he told Lena over coffee. Not just acquisitions and real estate, something that actually matters. Like what? I don't know yet, but something that helps people, that builds instead of just buying. That's going to cost money. I have money. It's going to take time. I have time. It's going to be hard. He smiled. Good. Easy's boring. They spent the next month researching what the city needed, where Dominic's resources could actually make a difference. They settled on affordable housing, taking some of the buildings from the Riverside acquisition and converting them into units people could actually afford to live in. Your board's going to hate this, Lena warned. Probably. You'll make less money. I have enough money. Dominic, I need to do this. He looked at her. Not for Chen, not for my father, for me. I need to do something that matters. Okay? She kissed him. Then let's do it. The board meeting was exactly as bad as Lena predicted. Half the board threatened to resign. Investors called demanding explanations. The press had a field day speculating about Dominic's mental state. But he didn't back down. This is the right thing to do, he said at the press conference announcing the initiative, and I'm done prioritizing profit over people. The backlash was immediate. Stock prices dipped. Analysts questioned his judgment. Maya called Lena in a panic. Is he losing it? She asked. No, he's finding it. That's very poetic, but what does it actually mean? It means he's finally doing what he wants instead of what he's supposed to. And you're okay with this? With him potentially tanking the company? Lena looked across the apartment to where Dominic sat at his desk, on the phone with architects, designing buildings that would actually help people instead of just generating revenue. Yeah, she said. I'm okay with it. You're both crazy. Probably. But crazy felt right. The affordable housing project broke ground 3 months later. A converted building in the Riverside district. 40 units. Rent controlled. Priority given to families who'd been displaced by rising property values. Dominic and Lena attended the groundbreaking. No press, no cameras, just them and the construction crew and a neighborhood that had been priced out of its own home. Thank you, a woman said, approaching them. She had 2 kids hanging off her arms. My family, we were going to have to leave, move to Jersey, but now, her voice caught. Now we can stay. Dominic shook her hand. You're welcome. Walking back to the car, Lena took his hand. How do you feel? She asked. Good. Better than I have in a long time. No regrets? Not even one. They drove home through streets that were starting to feel like theirs. Not because they owned them, but because they were part of them, connected to the lives happening in the buildings they passed, the people trying to make it work. That night, lying in bed, Dominic pulled Lena close. "Marry me," he said. She went still. "What?" "Marry me. Not someday. Not eventually. Now." "Dominic, I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring things out. But I don't want to wait. I don't want to waste time pretending I'm not sure when I am. I'm completely sure. About you. About us. About everything." Lena's heart was doing that complicated thing again. "You're serious?" "Completely. We've known each other 4 months." "I don't care. People are going to say we're crazy." "They already do." She laughed, tears on her face. "We don't even have a ring." "We'll get one tomorrow, or not. I don't care about the ring. I care about you." "This is insane." "I know. Completely insane." "I know." "Yes." He pulled back. "What?" "Yes. I'll marry you. Tomorrow. Next week. Whenever. Yes." He kissed her, hard and desperate and full of promise. "We're really doing this," he said against her lips. "We really are." "No doubts?" "A million, but I'm doing it anyway." He laughed. "I love you. I love you too." They got married 2 weeks later. City Hall. No big ceremony, Maya as witness, Dominic's lawyer as the other. Simple vows. Cheap rings they picked up from a jewelry store in Brooklyn that looked like it had been there since the 70s. "You look beautiful," Dominic said when Lena emerged in a white dress she'd found on sale. "You're biased." "Completely." The ceremony lasted 10 minutes. When it was over, they were married. Walking out of City Hall hand in hand, Lena felt lighter than air. "What now?" she asked. "Now we live." Dominic pulled her close. "We build things that matter. We help people. We fight when we need to and forgive when we can. We mess up and figure it out and keep going anyway. That's not much of a plan. It's the only one I have." "Good enough for me." They hailed a cab, went home, ordered pizza because neither felt like cooking, sat on the floor eating straight from the box like they'd done 100 times before. "This is my favorite version of us," Lena said. "Which version?" "This one, right here. No fancy restaurants, no press, just us." "Mine too." They stayed up until dawn, talking, planning, dreaming about a future that felt impossible and inevitable at the same time. And when the sun came up over the city that had brought them together, Lena Carter, now Lena Varela, knew one thing for certain. The accident hadn't been an accident at all. It had been the beginning. Marriage didn't change everything. That was the first surprise. Lena had expected something to shift, some fundamental alteration in how they moved through the world. But the morning after their City Hall wedding, she woke up in the same bed, next to the same man, with the same terrible coffee waiting in the kitchen. "You're disappointed," Dominic said, watching her face over breakfast. "I'm not." "You look disappointed." "I just thought, I don't know, that it would feel different." He reached across the table. "Does it feel wrong?" "No, it feels exactly right. That's what's weird." "Maybe that's how it's supposed to be, not some big dramatic shift, just more of what we already had." Lena smiled. "When did you get so wise?" "I married you. Clearly, I have terrible judgment." She threw a piece of toast at him. The affordable housing project consumed the next year. 3 more buildings converted, 160 families housed. It wasn't enough to solve the city's housing crisis, but it was something real, tangible. The kind of thing Dominic could point to and say, "I did that." But it came with costs. Half the board had made good on their threats and resigned. Stock prices stabilized but never recovered to pre-announcement levels. Investors were skittish. Some pulled out entirely. "We're losing money," Dominic's CFO told him in a quarterly review meeting. Lena sat beside him, watching numbers that made her stomach hurt. "How much?" Dominic asked. 15% down from last year. 20 if you factor in projected growth we didn't hit. "But we're not in the red." "No, but we're trending that direction." Dominic leaned back. "What if we scale back the housing project, slow the conversions?" "That would help, significantly." "How significantly?" "We'd probably recover most of the losses within 2 quarters." Lena felt Dominic's hand find hers under the table. No, he said. The CFO blinked. I'm sorry? We're not scaling back. We're doing what we said we'd do. If the board doesn't like it, they can leave. If investors want out, let them go. But we're not compromising on this. After the meeting, walking back to his office, Lena stopped him. Are you sure about that? About what? Not scaling back. You heard the numbers. We can't sustain this forever. We'll figure it out. How? He didn't have an answer. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She lay in bed watching shadows move across the ceiling, doing math in her head. Revenue projections, expenses, the gap between what they were making and what they needed. Stop thinking so loud, Dominic mumbled beside her. I'm not thinking loud. I can hear your brain from here. He rolled over, one eye open. Talk to me. The numbers don't work. They will. You don't know that. No, but I believe it. That's not a financial strategy. It's all I've got. Lena turned to face him. What if I had an idea? I'm listening. What if we didn't just convert buildings? What if we built new ones? With what money? Grants, government subsidies. There are programs for affordable housing development. We just have to apply for them. Dominic propped himself up on one elbow. You've researched this. Maybe. When? I haven't been sleeping much. He kissed her. You're brilliant. I'm practical. Same thing. They spent the next 3 months buried in grant applications, federal programs, state initiatives, city funding. Most of it was bureaucratic nightmare fuel, forms that referenced other forms, requirements that contradicted each other, deadlines that made no sense. But Lena was good at cutting through chaos. She built spreadsheets, created timelines, organized everything into a system that actually worked. You should have been a project manager, Dominic told her one night. They were both at the dining table, laptops open, papers everywhere. I basically am one now. Fair point. They submitted applications to 12 different programs, got rejected by 8, 3 more were pending. The last one, a federal affordable housing initiative, came back with conditional approval. Conditional on what? Lena asked, reading the letter. A site inspection, financial review, proof of community support. Dominic scanned the requirements. And a waiting period of 6 to 8 months. That's too long. It's what we've got. The waiting was brutal. Every day felt like a week. Lena threw herself into work, helping Dominic navigate other parts of the business. They diversified, started consulting for other companies on ethical business practices. It wasn't glamorous, but it generated revenue. Maya got engaged to someone she'd met at a bookstore. She called Lena at midnight, screaming, I'm getting married. That's amazing. When? I don't know. We literally just decided. Oh my God, I'm getting married. Lena smiled, genuinely happy. You deserve this. So do you. How's married life? Good. Hard. Good. That's the most honest answer I've ever heard. They met for coffee the next week. Maya's ring was simple, nothing like the diamonds Lena saw on other women, just a thin gold band with a tiny stone. I love it, Lena said. It was his grandmother's. He apologized for it not being bigger. Did you hit him? Obviously. They laughed. For a moment, it felt like before. Before Dominic. Before everything got complicated. Do you ever regret it? Maya asked. Moving so fast with him? Every day. Really? Yeah. But then I look at what we've built together and I think, I don't know. Maybe fast was the only speed that made sense for us. That's either really romantic or really stupid. Probably both. Maya stirred her coffee. For what it's worth, you seem happy. Stressed and exhausted, but happy. I am. Good. You deserve that too. The federal grant came through 7 months later. Full approval. Funding for 2 new buildings. 120 units total. Construction could start within the year. Dominic got the call while they were having dinner. Lena watched his face change. Disbelief, then relief, then something that looked like joy. We got it, he said after hanging up. The grant? Full approval, everything we asked for. Lena felt tears on her face before she realized she was crying. We did it. You did it. This was your idea. Our idea. He came around the table, pulled her up, held her while she cried into his shirt. I was so scared we wouldn't make it, she admitted. Me too. You never said anything. Neither did you. They stood there holding each other in their kitchen, dinner getting cold on the table. Sometimes the wins felt bigger than the losses. This was one of those times. Construction started 8 months later. Breaking ground on the first building felt surreal. Lena stood next to Dominic, watching bulldozers move earth, thinking about how far they'd come from that night he'd shown up at her apartment. What are you thinking? Dominic asked. That this is insane. You always say that. It's always true. He took her hand. You know what I'm thinking? What? That I want to have a family. Lena's brain stuttered. What? Kids. I want to have kids with you. We've been married 1.5 years. I know. We're barely keeping the company afloat. I know that too. Dominic, I'm not saying tomorrow, but someday, soon, I want that with you. Lena looked at the construction site, at the future taking shape in front of them. Okay. Someday soon. We can do that. His smile could have powered the city. They started trying 6 months later. It took longer than either expected. Months of negative tests, doctor's appointments, conversations about fertility treatments that made Lena's skin crawl. Maybe it's not meant to happen, she said one night after another negative test. Maybe it just hasn't happened yet. Or maybe we're not, ready. The universe telling us something. Dominic set down the test. The universe doesn't get a vote. We do. That's not how biology works. Then we'll figure out the biology. He pulled her close. Whatever it takes. 3 months later, Lena missed her period. Then another. The test sat on the bathroom counter, 2 pink lines staring back at her. Dominic, she called out. He appeared in the doorway. What's wrong? She handed him the test. He stared at it, then at her. Are you? I'm pregnant. He picked her up, spun her around, laughing and crying at the same time. We're having a baby. We're having a baby, she repeated, like saying it would make it real. It made it real. Pregnancy was nothing like the movies. Lena was sick constantly for the first 3 months, exhausted for the next 3. The final trimester brought swollen ankles, back pain, and a temper that made Dominic invest in flowers weekly. I hate this, she told him one night, 8 months in, unable to find a comfortable position. I know. I hate you for doing this to me. Technically, we did this together. Don't be logical. I'm allowed to be irrational right now. He rubbed her feet. You're allowed to be anything you want. I want ice cream. What kind? All of it. He went out at midnight to find ice cream, came back with 6 different flavors. They ate directly from the containers, sitting on the floor because the couch was too low for Lena to get up from easily. What if I'm terrible at this? She asked. At eating ice cream? You're doing great. At being a mom. He set down his spoon. You won't be. You don't know that. I do. Because you care enough to worry about it. Bad parents don't worry. Your dad probably never worried. Exactly my point. She leaned against him. I'm scared. Me too. Really? Terrified. What if I mess them up? What if I'm too much like my father? You're nothing like your father. You don't know that either. Yes, I do. She took his face in her hands. You're the man who showed up at my apartment at midnight because of an emoji. Who built housing for people who needed it? Who cries at those commercials with the sad dogs? You're going to be a great dad. Those commercials are manipulative. You still cry. Fair. Their daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in April. 17 hours of labor that Lena would later describe as medieval torture and refuse to discuss in detail. But when they placed the baby in her arms, tiny and red-faced and screaming, everything else fell away. She's perfect, Dominic said, tears streaming down his face. She's wrinkly. Perfect and wrinkly. They named her Lena. After Lena, but different enough to be her own person. Maya cried when they told her. Lena's mother flew in from Arizona and didn't leave for 2 months. You look tired, her mother said on day 3. I am tired. Gets easier. When? I'll let you know. It didn't get easier. Not really, but it got familiar. The sleepless nights, the constant worry, the way Elena's cry could wake Lena from a dead sleep in seconds. Dominic was better at it than he'd thought. He changed diapers without complaining, did midnight feedings, sang off-key lullabies that somehow worked. "You're a natural," Lena told him one night, watching him rock Elena back to sleep. "I'm terrified every second." "That's what makes you good at it." Work shifted. Lena went back part-time, unable to stay away completely, but unwilling to miss Elena's first smile, first laugh, first time she rolled over. The affordable housing buildings were completed. All of them. 6 buildings total. 320 units. Families moving in. Lives changing. Dominic stood at the ribbon cutting for the last building, Elena in his arms, and gave a speech that made half the audience cry. "This project started because someone I love challenged me to be better," he said, "to do more than just make money, to actually make a difference. And I'm grateful every day that I listened." Lena stood in the crowd, watching her husband hold their daughter, talking about building a better future. She thought about that night 2.5 years ago, the accidental emoji. The message that changed everything. None of it had been easy. The business still struggled sometimes. Money was tighter than before. They fought about schedules and priorities and whose turn it was to do dishes, but they were happy. Actually, genuinely happy. Elena's first birthday came on a Sunday. They kept it small. Maya and her husband, Lena's mother, a few close friends. Cake that Elena mostly smeared on her face. "Can you believe it's been a year, Gus?" Maya asked, watching Elena destroy a cupcake. "No. It feels like yesterday and forever ago at the same time. How's everything else? The company?" "Stable. We're not making billions, but we're doing okay. The housing projects are self-sustaining now. We're actually talking about expanding." "More buildings?" "Maybe. Or something else. We're still figuring it out." Maya smiled. "You guys are going to change the world. We're just trying not to screw up too badly." "Same thing." That night, after everyone left, after Elena was asleep and the apartment was quiet, Lena found Dominic on the balcony. "Hey," she said, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "Hey, what are you thinking about?" "Everything." "Nothing. How did we get here?" "You showed up at my apartment at midnight." He turned to face her. "Best decision I ever made." Even with everything that happened, Chen, the business struggles, all of it? Especially with all of it. He kissed her forehead. "You know what my father told me once?" "What?" "That success meant dying with the most money, that everything else was just noise." "That's depressing." "It is, but I've been thinking about what success actually means to me now." He gestured toward the apartment. "It's Elena sleeping in her crib. It's you. It's buildings full of families who can actually afford to live in this city. It's not perfect. It's messy and complicated and expensive. But it's real." Lena felt tears again. She cried more now. Hormones, probably. Or just happiness with no other way out. "I love you," she said. "I love you too." They stood there, the city sprawling below them, full of lights and lives and possibilities. 2 years later, they had a son. Named him James, after Dominic's grandfather, the one family member he actually had good memories of. James was easier than Elena had been, slept better, cried less. Or maybe they were just better at it the second time. "We're getting good at this," Dominic said one morning, both kids fed and dressed before 8. "Don't jinx it." James immediately spit up on Dominic's shirt. "You jinxed it," Lena said. "I absolutely did." The company stabilized, then grew. Not explosive growth, slow, steady, sustainable. They opened a consulting division helping other companies implement ethical business practices. Started a foundation funding affordable housing projects in other cities. Hired people who believed in the mission, not just the paycheck. Lena became COO. Dominic remained CEO. They worked together, fought sometimes, figured it out always. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Elena started kindergarten. James learned to walk. The years blurred together in the best way. Birthday parties and school plays and family dinners that usually ended with someone crying about something. This is chaos, Lena said one night. Both kids were finally asleep. The apartment looked like a tornado had hit it. Complete chaos, Dominic agreed. I love it. Me too. On their 5th anniversary, Dominic took Lena back to the diner on 5th and Morton. Same booth, same terrible coffee, same waitress who somehow still looked exactly the same. Remember the first time we came here? Dominic asked. You told me about your father. I told you about mine. I was terrified you'd run. I was terrified you were too good to be true. Was I? She looked at him. 5 years of marriage, 7 years together. Gray at his temples now, lines around his eyes. Still the same man who'd shown up at her door. No, she said. You're exactly real enough. He smiled, reached into his pocket, pulled out a box. What's this? Lena asked. Open it. Inside was a ring, simple band, small diamond, nothing like the flashy ones she saw in magazines. We had rings, she said. We had cheap rings we bought in a hurry because we couldn't wait. He took the ring out. This is the one I should have gotten you then, the one I wanted to get you. I've been carrying it for 3 years, waiting for the right moment. Why now? Because 5 years ago today, we got married, and I wanted you to know that I'd choose you again. Every time, no matter what. Lena's hand shook as he slid the ring onto her finger, next to the cheap band from Brooklyn. Both of them together. It's perfect, she said. You're perfect. I'm really not. Perfect for me then. They went home, paid the babysitter, checked on the kids, fell into bed exhausted and happy. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if your thumb hadn't slipped? Dominic asked in the dark. Every day. What do you think? I think we would have found each other anyway. Eventually. Different circumstances maybe, but same ending. You believe in fate? I believe in us. That's close enough. He pulled her closer. I love you. I love you too. 10 years after the accidental emoji, Lena stood in front of a crowd at the opening of their 8th affordable housing building. Elena was 9, James was 7. Both sitting in the front row looking bored the way kids do at adult events. When we started this project, Lena said, looking out at the faces, we didn't know if it would work. We just knew we had to try. Because trying matters. Because building something that helps people matters. Because being part of a community matters. She found Dominic in the crowd. He smiled. She smiled back. This building represents more than just apartments. It represents possibility. The possibility that we can do better, be better, build a city where everyone has a place to call home. The crowd applauded. Elena and James looked marginally less bored. After the ceremony, walking back to the car, Elena tugged on Lena's hand. Mom? Yeah, sweetie? That was a really long speech, Lena laughed. I know, sorry. It's okay. It was good, even though it was long. Thanks, James piped up from Dominic's shoulders. Can we get ice cream? It's 10 in the morning, Dominic said. So? So yes. Obviously, yes. They got ice cream, sat in the park watching the kids play. Normal things, regular things. The kind of life that didn't make headlines but felt full anyway. You happy? Dominic asked. Completely. No regrets? Not even one. He took her hand, the one with both rings. Me neither. Lena leaned her head on his shoulder, watching Elena push James on the swings, listening to their laughter carry across the park. She thought about that night. 11:47 p.m., one accidental fire emoji. A message that should have been nothing. Should have been. But wasn't. Because sometimes accidents aren't accidents. Sometimes they're just fate finding a shortcut. A moment that looks like chance but feels like destiny. Sometimes your thumb slips at exactly the right time. And everything changes. Lena Carter had spent her whole life trying to avoid mistakes, playing it safe, keeping her head down, not getting noticed. Then she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. And it had led her here, to this park, this family, this life, to Dominic Varela, the man she'd accidentally loved into existence. What are you smiling about? Dominic asked. Nothing, everything. She kissed his cheek. Us. Good answer. Elena ran over, breathless and grass-stained. "Mom, can we come back tomorrow?" "Maybe. Please?" "We'll see." James joined them, chocolate ice cream smeared across his face. "I love the park." "We know, buddy," Dominic said, wiping his face with a napkin. They stayed until the sun started to set, then packed up. Drove home through streets they knew by heart, past buildings they'd built, lives they'd touched. A city that felt more like theirs with every passing year. That night, after the kids were asleep, Lena stood in Elena's doorway watching her daughter dream. "She looks like you," Dominic said from behind her. "She looks like herself." That too. They moved to James's room. He was sprawled out, covers kicked off, sleeping the way only children can, completely unself-conscious. "We made this," Lena said quietly. "We did. Not just them, all of it, the company, the buildings, this life. We're pretty good at making things." She turned to face him. "What do you want to make next?" "More of this. Whatever this is. I just want more of it. That's not very specific. It's all I need." They went to bed. The city hummed beyond their windows. Somewhere, someone was having the worst day of their life. Somewhere else, someone was having the best. And in this apartment, in this bed, two people who'd started with an accident held each other in the dark and knew they'd gotten it right. The fire emoji had been the spark. But they'd built the fire, fed it, tended it, kept it burning through storms and doubts, and every moment that tried to blow it out. And it was still burning, would keep burning, for as long as they both wanted it to. Which was forever. Or as close as two imperfect people could get.